The hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic is scheduled for next week here inside FedEx Forum. It's going to be a doubleheader on Tuesday. Game one is going to be Dawn Staley and her South Carolina women, who double as the reigning national champions. That's going to be against the Memphis women at 6 o'clock. And then game two, it's going to be Hubert Davis and his North Carolina men, who double as the reigning ACC champs against the Memphis men at 8:30. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. All proceeds going to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Should be a fun night, in part because on the court we're going to get to see the only consensus first-team All-American from last season who returned to college basketball this year. His name is R.J. Davis. He's North Carolina's All-American guard, the reigning ACC Player of the Year, and he's nice enough to join me this morning from Chapel Hill. R.J. Davis, it's Gary Parrish. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Now, I appreciate you being here. I mentioned that all proceeds from next week's event are going to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Let's start there. What does it mean to you personally to participate in something that's raising real money for the children battling cancer here in downtown Memphis and the families who are obviously fighting with them?
It means a lot, just to kind of give back and, support a great cause to those families and kids. It's more than basketball. So just for us to be able to raise money and, support them through these hard times, I think it's a great sign of, both teams coming together to support a cause.
So I know a lot of people are excited about you guys being here next week. Over at CBSSports.com, I have your Tar Heels ranked 4th in the country and picked to win the ACC. Admittedly, though, I don't know your team as well as you know your team. So I want to ask you about your team. You know what a Final Four team looks like. You've been on one a couple of years ago. Is this North Carolina team built to make another Final Four?
Yes, I do believe that. I mean, this team is so talented and has the potential of doing a lot of great things. It's probably the most athletic team I've been on since my 4 years, going on 5 now. So just from the wings perspective and guards and just the way we play, I think it was going to be a great team. The talent's there. The potential's there, so we just got to continue to stack days, and I think, and hopefully, God willing, we'll be playing in the first week of April.
Like I mentioned earlier, you are the only first-team All-American who returned to college this year. It's not a normal thing. I'm not pocket watching, I promise. I'm genuinely happy you guys are finally getting something that better reflects what you're worth to these schools and the television networks like the one that I work for. That said, I would like to get your perspective on how NIL opportunities did influence your decision. You're already a North Carolina graduate. Would you still be in school if NIL didn't exist, or would you have already moved on to whatever professional opportunities were out there for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think just in terms of having the 5th year, having another year to play at this prestigious university, despite NIL, I probably would have came back just because I promised myself since I stepped onto campus to kind of play in the national championship, but also win it. I got the chance of doing that my sophomore year. Came up short, a rebound short. So kind of just get that feeling back, that same intensity back, because it was a great feeling. It's once in a lifetime type of experience. You're not going to get that at the next level. Playing with your brothers and fighting for a common good and a common goal throughout the whole year is something that you can't ask for, and not a lot of people get to experience that. So coming back from my 5th year, it was a hard decision to make. But I feel like it was the best decision for myself and for my career to kind of just continue to improve on and off the court, just so I can reach the next level whenever that is.
Every college basketball player I've ever talked to mentions that if they're going to stay in school for 4 years, in your case now 5, they want to try to get better, improve on things every season. Not everybody does it. You obviously have. You go from as a freshman, sort of a role player on a talented team, to not only the best player at North Carolina, but one of the best players in the entire country. You're the reigning ACC Player of the Year. You're a consensus first-team All-American. You're going to get votes for preseason National Player of the Year. When did you realize that you weren't only capable of being an important piece at North Carolina, but you were capable of being quite literally one of the best players in the entire country?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I realized it until like my junior year, going into my senior year. I think each year I kind of just, stayed to myself and stayed down, kept my head down and continued to work. And I always knew the type of player I was, the capabilities I had in my game and just overall as a leader. So it was more about just kind of improving every year. And I think I, did that just in terms of, my statistics with, shooting the ball, the points averages, being able to be a point guard. And I played with a lot of great players with a lot of talent. So, going into my senior year was really just about, how I want to be remembered, how I want the senior year to go. Because it was in my head, it was like my last year in terms of, just it was Mondo's last year, and I think we had a really great chance of doing a lot of great things with that team. So going into my senior year was really when I, prayed a lot and kind of found myself and found the abilities I was able to do. And that's when I really started to believe in myself more than anybody. And I think my parents, they kind of uplifted me a lot. They sometimes had more belief in me than I do in myself. And I kind of just, held myself accountable. Just for when days I didn't feel like working out, or in days in practice when things get hard, when there's a lack of energy. That's when I really started to take that leadership role and that role into, this is something that I could make successful and have a successful year.
One of my favorite things about being in Chapel Hill at the Dean Smith Center is you look up and you see these iconic banners. It's Jordan, it's Worthy. Has it hit you yet that your name, your number is going to hang alongside that someday?
It hasn't. It really hasn't. I mean, just in terms of like the amount of players that have played here, I mean, it's just so many icons and so many great players that have played there. And just from, my number, my name to go up there and be right next to them, it's mind blowing to me. And I really haven't put into words and really put into perspective. But I think once I actually see it go up there, I'll probably just have tears of joy, just because I know how much of a roller coaster it has been. For me, just through my past 5 years and how much hard work I put in to get to this point. So it hasn't hit me yet, but I think once I see my jersey go up there, it's going to just be a sign of relief.
I'm talking to RJ Davis. He's the All-American at North Carolina. He's going to be in town Tuesday night. Doubleheader inside FedEx Forum. It's the Hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. Like I mentioned, I've got you guys fourth in my preseason rankings that I do at CBSSports.com. I'm a believer, but every time I tweet about North Carolina, somebody expresses some concern about the front court. Armando Bacot is no longer in Chapel Hill. In fact, he's actually here in Memphis now. I know your backcourt is strong with you and Elliott and five-star freshman Ian Jackson. The front court, less proven. Tell me about the front court players you guys are going to be relying on this season. What should I expect to see from them once we get going?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Armando's gone, but this is a great opportunity for our bigs to step up, and they've been doing that all off season, from Jalen Washington to Vin to Jay Witt. They've been extremely great in practice and been pushing each other to kind of just putting themselves in the position to be great all year. I think our front court is going to be great. They've been doing a great job of constantly communicating and talking to us guards on where to be on offensively and defensively. So I'm expecting big things from them. I know a lot of people have their worries about it, but I know what we got in this locker room is real, and what we got in our front court is real. So they're going to go out there battling and playing the hardest.
You are obviously going to lead Chapel Hill with an incredible career filled with accolades. I want to go back to 2022. That's the year you went to the Final Four. But while doing that, you also were able to beat Mike Krzyzewski in his final game at Cameron Indoor. You then beat Mike Krzyzewski in his final game as Duke's head coach in the Final Four. Let's stop there before we get to that Monday night. What was that like, beating Duke twice in the final weeks of Coach K's obviously incredible career?
Yeah, I mean, it was a surreal moment. And, kind of just go back to that. I mean, going to that game, Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, I mean, no one believed that we were going to win that game, just because of, they beat us at home, and it was quite a blowout. So going into that week, I mean, we knew in the locker room what we had, and we believed in ourselves. And going to that week, I mean, just from, the starting five to the bench, everyone just felt that we had a chance of really winning. And, going into that game, we had a lot of confidence, and we came out victorious. And then kind of just playing in the Final Four against Coach K and that Duke team, which was a phenomenal team with a lot of NBA prospects. It was a great moment, just because, to go down in history and be like the first two teams to ever play in the college rivalry in the Final Four. I mean, that's something like only you could dream of. And kind of just, recircling back on that and revisiting, it doesn't feel like too long ago. It felt like I just played in the last year. But it's one of the best experiences that I've had playing here at the University of North Carolina. One of the most fun times I've had. And kind of just coming out with that win, it meant a lot, not to this program, but I think to the whole wide world, just because of everyone knew the backstory and the history to those two great teams, and it goes beyond us. So playing that Final Four and that rivalry, I mean, it's something that I remember forever, and I'll be able to tell my kids about whenever I get older.
So that was on Saturday. 48 hours later, you're in the national championship game against Kansas. You lose at 72-69. You're up 15 points at halftime. You were up 16 points in the first half. When you look back on that, what memories do you have from the way that night unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of mixed emotions, man. I mean, just in terms of being up at halftime and, things going the way they were going well for us. We was playing well. We was, getting stops on defense, finding the right guys for the right shots. I think second half, we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit and settled a little bit. And that's what made Kansas be able to get their run. And, I kind of learned a lot from that, just from that game and that experience, to never take your foot off the gas. Doesn't matter how many points you're up. If you're down, there's always a way and there's always a will to fight back through games. And that was a big learning lesson for me. It was definitely something that I had to deal with because, you're right there to win a national championship, have the confetti fall and, kind of cut down the nets one more time. But, man, it was a lot of mixed emotions, but so I definitely want to get back to that feeling.
I'm talking to R.J. Davis, All-American guard at North Carolina. He's going to be in town Tuesday night. The Hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic inside FedEx Forum, North Carolina against Memphis. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. You are the reigning ACC Player of the Year. You are the favorite to be the ACC Player of the Year again. But if you don't win it, most people think it will be because of a 17-year-old who has moved in down the street from you in Durham. His name is Cooper Flagg. One of my favorite things about this ACC race is that most people believe it's going to be North Carolina and Duke, and the Tar Heels are led by you, a 22-year-old who turns 23 later on this month. Early happy birthday. On the other side, it's a Duke team with a 17-year-old who won't turn 18 until a few days before Christmas. How much have you seen Cooper Flagg? What do you make of that rivalry between North Carolina and Duke that is going to be headlined by both of you guys this season, both of whom are projected to be first-team All-Americans?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll just be great for college sports, just in terms of, who Cooper is and what he brings to the table. I mean, extremely great athlete, great NBA prospect, and it plays extremely hard. So that's something that, Duke could ask for, and something that will work well for them. And I think it'll just be great, just in terms of college basketball and kind of for us to be a rivalry, UNC versus Duke, and for us to go head to head. I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna be something that I think everyone's gonna tune into. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the matchup, and kind of just continue to just take one step at a time, one day at a time. I think that will be perfect for not only for me but for our team to get to where we want to be.
Wrap it up here with R.J. Davis, North Carolina guard. He's going to be in town next Tuesday for the Hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic, North Carolina and Memphis. That'll follow the South Carolina women against the Memphis women inside FedEx Forum. Last thing before I let you go, I know you were born in White Plains, New York, raised in White Plains, New York. I've been in your airport many times. You're about 20 miles or so from Yankee Stadium, about 20 miles or so from Citi Field. I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but did you follow baseball at all growing up in the shadows of those two major league franchises? And if so, which team do you prefer? And look at my hat before you answer.
I'm not really a big baseball fan guy, but I'll keep up here and there whenever the playoffs come around. But I used to play for New York Gauchos, and the Yankee Stadium was not too far from Gauchos gym, so I'm gonna have to go with Yankees. I know you got a Mets hat on, but I'm gonna go with the Yankees.
I respect it, brother. Stay loyal to whatever you're loyal to. I appreciate it. That's R.J. Davis, North Carolina guard. He's going to be at FedEx Forum on Tuesday night. Hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic. All proceeds benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. R.J., I can't thank you enough for fitting me in your schedule today. I'll see you next week. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gary, for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care. That's R.J. Davis, North Carolina All-American guard. That's a real treat next week. He is quite literally, whether it's Division I men's basketball, Division I women's basketball, there is only one consensus first-team All-American who is back in college this season, and that's R.J. Davis, the All-American guard.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.